Hello, hello, magical souls. How are we doing? It is Nicola here. Welcome to this session where I'm going to be talking about how to write a book in 2025, and very specifically, talking about like this year that we've just landed in. There are some core themes that are coming through for 2025, which that I believe are really going to help you to write your book in a way that feels aligned and powerful. So if you are here live watching, please do say hello in the chat. Let me know that you can see me, that you can hear me. If you're watching the replay, please do still say hello in the chat so that I know that you have connected. Yeah, and I'm really, really excited to share what's been coming through for today's session. This wasn't like hugely planned. It was only really at the beginning of this week that I started to realize, hang on, this year feels different. And I know we're only a few days into 2025 as I am sharing this. But like I said, there are some different themes, there are some different energies that are coming through, which are going to make it, I believe, I don't want to say easier, because like writing a book always takes time and energy, but will hopefully create more momentum in your book writing journey. If you have been like struggling to get started or really get going, or certainly get to the point of completion in previous years. So today I'm going to be going through like why you might want to write a book in 2025, why this is a really good year for you to be writing your book, why 2025 is different, like certainly from the past few years that we've had. I'm just going to put a caveat as well. I mean, I don't know what's coming in 2025. But we're really talking about kind of the energies. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to talk about 5 core themes that relate specifically to the book writing journey, and also giving you some specific strategies, not too much a fan of those words, really soul-led, unbound strategies, like ways that you can really work in alignment with these core themes that are coming through for the year to, make your book writing journey flow in a more easeful way. And at the end, I will share a way that you can step more fully into the transformational author you're going to be. No, the transformational author you are. The transformational author you're here to be, the one you already are. You already are. That is a part of your identity. If you're watching this, if you're feeling the call to write a book, you don't have to wait until your book is out in the world to know that you're an author. You already are. And that identity piece is something that I'll be talking about a little bit later on in this session. So I imagine it'll be about an hour long, but we'll see how it flows. We will see how it flows. And I have got some notes up on the side. So if I look over to the side, that is what I'm doing. I am looking at my notes. So whether you are watching live or watching the recording, it would be great to hear what stage you're at in your book writing process, if you want to put that in the chat. So whether you are at that place where you're feeling the call, you haven't got started yet, whether you have started the process, and where you are with that, if you're way into it, or if you are more towards the completion of your manuscript. Let me know. It would be really good to hear. If you don't know me, I am Nicola Humber. I am an author myself, author of 3 books so far: Heal Your Inner Good Girl, Unbound, and Unbound Writing, how to write the transformational book you're really here to write. I am also founder of the Unbound Press, which is a soul-led publishing company for magical women writing world-changing books. So we work with transformational books transformational authors, and they can be fiction or non-fiction. Most of our releases are non-fiction, but we have been finding like more and more fiction coming through the Unbound press. And absolutely, fiction can be just as transformational as non-fiction. So I and we at the Unbound press tend to work with like magical beings. Women writers who perhaps have struggled with more traditional approaches to writing their book, and like certainly to publishing. They found that quite restrictive. They feel called to do things differently. Actually, they don't just feel called to do things differently, like they have to do things differently. It's part of who they are. Like different from like the more conventional way that we have been taught and told to do things. And they are really looking for like a home for themselves as the authors they are, and also for their books, somewhere that feels really, really aligned. And that's what we do at the Unbound Press. We work with authors at every stage of the journey to take you from wherever you're at, whether that's just starting your book and tuning in to the ideas that are wanting to come through, or whether you have a more complete manuscript through to book out in the world. So I've been running the Unbound Press since November 2018. We just had our 6th birthday towards the end of last year. I'm really looking forward to the books that we're going to be releasing over the next 12 months. So why might you want to write a book in 2025? Like, why might you want to write a book anyway? Because, if one thing is sure, writing a book takes a substantial amount of time and energy. Yeah, it's not like, contrary to what some people may say and teach, it's not something that you can just kind of knock out in a weekend. Well, you can, but not when it really comes to these kind of transformational books that we're talking about, like soul-led books that we're talking about. So why would you want, like, there's so many other things that you could do. Why would you want to kind of make writing a book a priority, pour time and energy into it? Why would that be the thing that you want to focus on this year? Well, there's a number of reasons. Like, there are all the normal reasons of like writing a book. It kind of positions you as an expert. It can act as a calling card for the other work that you're doing in the world. It helps to create connection with your readers. Like, if somebody reads your book, they have a really good sense of who you are. And, if it's related to the work you're doing in the world, they really get to connect with the essence of what you're doing and how you do it. So, I've certainly had people who have read one of my books and they just know they want to work. They didn't know me before, but they know they want to work with me just from reading my book. So it's really powerful in all of those kind of normal ways, but also for us who are doing more kind of spiritual transformational work, where like sometimes it can feel hard to like convey what we do. We know we're amazing at what we do, but to actually like talk about it and share about it, it can all feel a little bit intangible. It can feel like we're operating a lot kind of in the ether a lot of the time. And what we do when we take the time to write a book is it helps your magic, like what you do, the intangible, to land and become something tangible. Like, especially, you can obviously release an ebook, but choosing to release a paperback or a hardcover version of your book into the world, that all of these up on the shelf behind me are books that have been written by the Unbound press authors. And, each one is like a tangible representation of the magic that each one of those women is making in the world. Like, it helps us to create something solid, to have something solid, something tangible that we can share with people. It helps to crystallize what you're here to share. So, going through the process of writing a book, you will get to know yourself really, really well, better probably than you ever have before. You will get to make meaning of your own individual story, your experience, and you will get even clearer on like the unique magic message medicine that you're here to share. Like, you will experience that through the process, and also it crystallizes it for your readers, for your potential clients, for your community, for your audience. Yeah, they have this tangible thing that they can come back to. You know, it can sit on their bedside table, on their bookshelf. um can be reading it in coffee shops, and they get to know you, and they get to really have a clear sense of what you're here to do. So you get that for yourself, and then that gets passed on to your readers and potential clients. And also, you knowing that, you having that clarity, it helps you to share the work you're here to do in a much more potent way. And of course, there's the thing that writing a book, having a book out in the world absolutely sets you apart. It might feel like everybody is writing a book, like it certainly feels like that in my world, because pretty much everyone I'm connected with is at some stage of writing a book or has written a book. But actually, it's not the case. Most people who feel the call to write a book never get to the point of completion. I think it's only 3% who actually feel like want to write a book get to the point of completion. So the very fact that you are choosing to do this sets you apart. And certainly once your book is out in the world, it does. Like, you're going to stand out because you have written a book. Like, it's a really powerful achievement. So let's dive into why 2025 is a bit different. So, I mean, we all know the last few years in particular, certainly, from 2020 and beyond, have been, I don't know, transformational. Yes, they've been formative for many of us. Like, we have learned so much about ourselves. It's been like a really condensed, intensive experience of learning. I know that many of us have been on this path, the Unbound path, the transformational path, the spiritual path, probably way before 2020. But what's happened since that year, like in these first few years of the 2020s, whatever we're calling them, is there's been this kind of ramping up. We've learned, like I said, so much about ourselves, about what we're here to do. It's likely you're much clearer now about what you're here to do. And this is going to continue, this kind of transformation, this learning. You've probably experienced like everything is just speeding up. We're living in shape-shifting times. Like, that's certainly not going to change. But what we get to do now is to take what we've learned, what we are learning, what we've anchored over the past few years, and fly with it. So if you have been in the book writing process for a number of years, like, I know a lot of people in 2020, a lot of people that I know, a lot of people in the Unbound writing community, like at the beginning of 2020, when everything kind of kicked off, like made that decision to write their books. They made that commitment. It's like, yes, it's happening. I'm doing it. But we were still very much adjusting to living through these times. So, everything felt unstable, and it still does feel unstable in the world, but what's happened, we have got more used to navigating what we're living through. So we're more able now, like if you felt that call back in 2020 or maybe in the years since, but it's like, oh, I just can't quite find the capacity to do this and to actually bring it to the point of completion, because you've had that experience of living through the past few years. You've got used to like navigating these times, and you're more certain of who you are and who you're here to be, what you're here to share. It's more easeful now to actually move ahead, write your book, get it to the point of completion, and release it into the world. And I'm hearing this, I've had quite a few conversations, even in the last couple of days, where I'm speaking to women that I've known for some time. And there's just this new level of like, no, I know who I am now, a new level of confidence. Like, I know what I'm here to do and I'm going to do it. And when we have that, it makes the whole process of writing your book so much easier. Yeah. It's like, for the past few years, many of us, you might have had the experience, you're trying to write a book, but you're also like trying to navigate a new landscape as well. So it's like you're driving a car and trying to find your way, but trying to write a book at the same time. And I'm not saying there won't be kind of uncertainty in the world, turbulence in the world, in the collective, and in your personal experience over the next 12 months. Like, for sure, there will be. But we are getting better at just recognizing, like, this is the nature of these times. We're getting better at navigating it, at kind of working with it, moving with it. So the writing process can flow with more momentum. So let's talk about these 5 core themes that are coming through for 2025. And to be honest, some of these, you might say, oh, yeah, well, I've heard that before. Like, I know this. It's basic. But there are new layers to each one of these themes now. Yeah. So let's start with the first one, and you will definitely say, yeah, I know this, and it is about authenticity. Like, in 2025, authenticity rules. More and more people are just stepping away from almost feeling repelled by, or it's like, it's almost like anything that's like really curated or perfect. It's almost like we don't see it anymore, because like we know that it's not real. So more and more people will be stepping away from that and leaning into like authentic, imperfect. I'm putting that in inverted commas because, like, I don't even know what imperfect means. Like, there's no such thing as perfect. So there's no such thing as imperfect. It just is. But that kind of raw, real self-expression. So kind of messy. Again, I'm saying messy, but it's just, it's just real, natural, true. Like, there's this craving now for stories, sharing that is true, that is real. Stories, experience, insights that heal, that connect, because like we can feel the truth of it. So the invitation is, if you have been getting jammed up on your book writing journey, or maybe you're letting this stop you because it's like, oh, but I need to be able to write properly. I've never been a good writer. I was told I wasn't a good writer at school. Maybe you have like dyslexia or something, or you just have never been able to write in that more kind of academic way. If you've been letting that stop you, like, know that actually, like, that is in your favor in 2025. Like, it has been anyway. Like, I've been talking about this, like, ever since the Unbound writing approach first landed. But more and more, like, people, your readers, your community, your audience, your potential clients are gonna be looking to see, like, the real you coming through in your writing. And, like, in a world where AI is becoming more and more prevalent, and I've got nothing against AI as a tool. I think it can be a really beneficial tool for us as writers, as creators, and we use it kind of as a co-creative partner. But when people are just churning out, writing that has been generated purely by AI with no kind of human input, this is how we stand out. It's through sharing our truth, sharing our real voices, sharing your story. Like, this is the year to go all in on your story. And when I talk about your story, I don't mean it has to be like some big kind of rags to riches, rock bottom to mountaintop story. It doesn't. Like, those small stories, those small experiences, everyday experiences, like sharing those in your book, and also, in the sharing you're doing around your book, as you are growing a community of readers, clients, people who are interested in you and your work and your writing. Like, those are the things that are going to create connection. Like, we get to be real more than ever before. So any idea that to write a book, you have to be a proper writer, whatever that means. It's like, no, you already know how to do this. You just get to communicate in a natural way, in a way that feels true for you. So the strategy here is to share more you, like, allow more you into your writing. There is always more that can come. And we can get tripped up on the whole, like, too much piece. Oh, I'm being too much. This is what people are craving. Like, we've had so much over the past, certainly over the past few years, not even just over the past few years. I think ever since I've been in the online space, things have just kind of got shinier. And, like, this expectation of doing things in a particular way. And it's like, we're almost becoming blind to it now. It's like, no, people don't see it. Like, it's when we're real. And that doesn't mean you have to show up and, when I talk about being authentic, it's not like, showing up and it kind of crying on camera or whatever it is, but it's just bringing your true self through, like allowing your quirks, allowing your weird, following those weird little ideas that bubble up for your book, for your writing, that you discount as like, oh no, that's a bit random. I don't know if people will get that. Yes, they will. Your people will get that. And write as you speak, rather than, trying to write in a particular way because you're writing for a book or other people are going to see it. It's like, write as you speak. So authenticity rules in 2025. The invitation is to go all in on you. Like, that's where the magic is. Thing number 2 is discernment. Discernment. So what I mean by this is it's getting more and more noisy out there. You know, and again, this is really ramped up since 2020 when, we kind of all moved online. Like many of us were online already, but then it was like everything's happening online, and um, there's just so much more information, content that we're being bombarded with continually. Yeah, we're on our devices much more. Like this is just ramping up and up exponentially. And it has been difficult to not look outside of ourselves for answers because we're exposed to so much. And it's almost like it's getting to a tipping point now. And there's a couple of really good things about this. Like, one, in 2025, we're being called to get super, super clear on what and who we listen to, pay attention to. Like, I really started to feel this towards the end of last year. I've always loved kind of following a range of people, like even if I don't like super align with their approach or what they're sharing, I just like from a place of curiosity, it's like I like to see what people are up to. And towards the end of, because I'm always like, oh, well, I could take, there might be just one little thing that sparks something off for me, or, I feel I can experiment with. And towards the end of last year, it's like, no, I'm not up for that anymore. Not right now. I just want to, I've been unfollowing, unsubscribing. It's about coming back. Again, it's about your truth, like coming back to what feels true for you. And actually, this is really, really powerful in terms of books and writing, because again, people are feeling called back to actually having like a physical copy of a book rather than being on their devices. People, more and more is starting to come out about the impact that, being on our phones, like being in front of screens all the time has on us. So if you're providing something analog that people can access and still connect with you, but they're not on a screen, it's like, yes. So really, it is about being discerning about what you listen to, what you watch, what you are consuming, and recognizing that you are here to be a creator rather than a consumer. Like your book needs to be yours. We're always going to be, we live in a connected world. So kind of everything is co-created. But this is about really stepping into trust of what's yours, your unique piece. So this really is a year, like a call inwards, like switching off as much as possible. So the strategy here is to take regular time away from the noise. Could do things like social media detoxes, for a period of time, or certainly using social media or being on screens like in a more intentional way, like giving yourself plenty of time where you just get to be with yourself, or in community or in spaces that feel aligned. Really using your discernment. I think as this year goes on, more and more you'll be able to feel like we'll be able to feel what's not for us. It's like, no, that is not. And trusting that. Like, it can be tempting to have like that FOMO of like, oh, but yeah, if I'm not connected to certain people, then I won't know what's going on. It's like, no, you get to be discerning. So that's theme number 2. Theme number 3 is radical community building, radical community creation, like a bit of alliteration there. So this has always been a piece, like a really core layer of the Unbound writing approach, like creating community around your writing. But similar to what I've been sharing up until now, after years, the last few years where there's been, like a really strong online digital focus, there's also gonna be a focus, a shift back towards kind of more local, in-person community, more intimate community rather than kind of huge, big, groups and spaces. So when we think of book sales and author platforms, you've got to grow your author platform, we can get really kind of hung up on the numbers, but it's the depth of connection that's key. And because we have been doing so much online, um, over the past few years, so much on screens, more and more people are being called back towards like in-person community, like smaller, more intimate, more intentional community, like where there really is a depth of connection, and we get to create and hold space for that through our writing, through our books, as the transformational authors we are. So as an author, rather than focusing on, and a lot of the advice out there is, no, you just got to grow your platform, grow your audience, like, get the numbers, get us to a certain number of followers. But actually, that can just feel exhausting. And you could grow like maybe a huge audience, huge number of followers, but if the connection isn't there, then what is the point? You want people to really connect with you, with your work, with your book. So there's a shift away from just kind of trying to get the numbers to really intentional community creation. And I would say this is kind of non-negotiable now as an author, like to be doing this in some way. Unless you just want to release a book and you're not really worried about kind of what happens next. If you are creating a body of work and your book is part of that, and you are here to have an impact, to create change in the world, and that's going to come on to that in a moment, then like community has to be part of it. And it might not look necessarily like it has in the past. Like we get to do, it's not like just, oh, I'm just going to set up a Facebook group and have a community there. Like that could be an approach, but just it's kind of almost like a back to basics thing with this. So a strategy here, which, I can't believe this is kind of radical, but it kind of is to create some kind of in-person meetup, workshop, circle, or gathering around your writing. Maybe it's a one-off, or maybe this is a regular thing. Rather than focusing, like I said, as we've been conditioned to do, on just getting as many numbers as possible online, it's like bring it back to person connection. And that the energy of that can ripple out and have a really powerful impact online. You can be sharing about it, what you're creating online on your social medias, on your social media accounts, social medias. But yeah, the invitation is to create some kind of in-person meetup, some kind of event or workshop which is related to your writing. You don't have to wait until it's out in the world to do that. Starting that as early as possible is going to be really, really powerful in terms of creating momentum for you as an author and for your book. So theme number 4 for 2025 is creative rebirth. Like our books get to be a focal point, a portal for reimagining the world. Like, I've always or often talked about books as a magical portal when we're writing books, when we are creating our books, when we're bringing them through. We are creating a portal for ourselves as the authors. We get to go on a transformational journey of our own. Like, I've talked about how the process of writing a book helps you to get clearer on who you are and what you're here to do, what you're here to share. But we also create a portal for our readers. Actually, what we're also doing is creating a portal for the collective. Yeah, like rewriting the world, not the whole world with your one book, but book by book. You know, we get to reimagine how we do things, like how we live in this world. Yeah, how we navigate all of this together. So what is going to be happening? It already is happening, but it's going to become a stronger theme in 2025. More and more people will be using creativity to create, to process collective change and like dreaming up new paradigms. So this is where, you know, I talked earlier when I was talking about authenticity, like following those kind of weird ideas that might be dropping in for you, rather than going, oh no, I don't think people are going to get it. It's like, no, this is where the magic is. We need the new, these different ideas, these ideas that might not necessarily make sense, that might feel a bit strange, a bit weird. Like, that is how we birth the new. Like, this expression has been, this phrase just keeps coming through for me in these first few days of 2025, writing in a new way. And that's, you know, we get to write in a new way, we get to write in a different way, but also we are writing in, like calling in a new way with our writing. So, like, knowing this as you write your book, it's like the invitation is to write as if every word is a spell. Like, it's a spell you're casting. Like, you are bringing your piece to the party. We are like birthing a new world together. That sounds a bit I'm not sure how I feel about the way I've just worded that. But we are birthing the new together. Like, each book is part of this puzzle that we are piecing together. You know, I've always said that, but this is going to become more and more apparent as we move through this year and beyond. So it really is feeling into, like, what is the change you want to see in the world? What is the change you want to create in the world? What do you stand for? Like, for me, it's always been, and this has come through in all of my writing, it's for women in particular to, you know, be more fully expressed in the world, to feel free to be more fully expressed, to unbind from all the kind of crap that we're taught and we're told and conditioned to experience, so that we can bring our full magic to the world. You know, the lens that I do that through is obviously, you know, mostly through writing and publishing books. But that's the change that I want to see in the world. That is the change that I am holding space for. So, like, your book could be directly related to this. You could be talking about this, like that. This could be the core message of your book, or it could just be just knowing this. It could just be like the backdrop to your book. Maybe you don't even speak about it kind of directly, but knowing it is going to help you to feel more connected to your book, more connected to your vision, your mission, like however you want to word it. It's going to help to carry you through the process of writing your book. Like, knowing, like, it's not just writing your book from a place of like, oh, well, you know, everyone says I should write a book, so I'm going to do it. It's like, no, we are like birthing the new with our books. And the fifth theme, core theme of 2025 is the identity piece. So this is more important than ever in 2025. Again, writing a book isn't something you do because you should. It's something you do because it's part of who you are. It already is part of who you are. Like, you are an author. So really, the invitation this year is to step more fully into the identity of the transformational author you are. Now, this is something that many can struggle with. It's like, but I haven't written my book yet. Like, oh, how can I call myself an author? I know women who have books out in the world who still feel reluctant to call themselves an author. It's like, waiting for permission for somebody else to tell you it's okay. I say this so many times, if you're feeling the call to write a book, it's no accident. And I say it all the time because it is true. If you're feeling the call to write a book, even if it's just like the first little inkling of a call, you are a transformational author. You are an author. So this is about like really really anchoring into that. And I am feeling it when in a lot of the conversations that I'm having this year. It's very heartening. Whereas in the past, it might have been like, oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I can do that. There's this kind of collective momentum towards like recognizing, oh, yeah, of course, like this is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. And when we have that belief, like, I'm not saying that it never wavers, but it makes it much easier to actually move through the process of writing our books, to be talking about our books, to be sharing about our books, to be like showing up for ourselves and our books. So stop waiting for permission. Like, that's more important than ever this year. Really acknowledge that identity piece and be aware of that as you are writing your book, as you are publishing your book, as you are promoting your book, as you're talking about your book, and like building this body of work. Recognizing like this is what you're here to do, holding space for others through your writing and the body of work you create around your book. So the strategy here is a question. It's kind of a prompt for you to reflect on and keep asking yourself, like, how can I inhabit my being as the transformational author I am? How can I show up today as the transformational author I am? How can I embody this even more fully than I have before? And again, it's a process, but the identity piece is like, if we don't have the identity piece, then it makes it it makes it more challenging to write your book. It certainly makes it more challenging to stand behind your book, like to stand with your book. So this is vital. This is vital. So the 5 themes we have there, let me just recap. Authenticity rules, like it kind of always has, but now more than ever. Discernment, being really discerning about like what and who you listen to, the content you consume. Really, really intentional about that, and trusting yourself. Like creating conditions where you really get to listen to that inner wisdom, to yourself. Radical community building, like really, really being intentional about the community you're creating around your writing, around your books, around the work you're doing in the world. And having a focus on in-person community as well. Like moving away from the idea that it's all about the numbers. Creative rebirth, recognizing that your book is a portal to creating change in the world. Like, this is how we're creating the new. And identity. stepping more fully into the transformational author you're here to be. So it would be good to hear which one of those kind of resonates most, which one is sparking off for you most. If you want to pop that in the comments, please do in the chat. So a powerful year we have ahead of us. It's a year when what I know talking to you to show the way. It's like, I talked at the beginning how we've been doing a lot of formative work over the past few years. We've been getting used to kind of navigating these super turbulent times that we're living through. And we've got to a place now where I'm not saying it's easy, but we're more able to do that. And it's likely that others will really be looking to you to be a way shower. It's a year when if you felt like almost like you've had like this cloak of invisibility on up until now, it's like you've been sharing about your work, maybe you've been talking about your writing and the book you're feeling called to write. It hasn't been landing with people. This is a year when you and your book and your work and your writing will start to be noticed more. It's like that cloak of invisibility is dropping because the world is more ready for what you're here to share. And like a book is going to amplify that. It's really a time for magical, unbound beings like you, for all of us to really step in. So if you are ready to commit to writing and publishing your book this year, I have something for you, a way you can do that and be beautifully supported at the same time. It's called the Transformational Author. It's a special package program that I and we have created at the Unbound Press. I'm going to pop the details, a link to the details in the chat so you can have a look. So what this is, it's a package where you get access to community support through the Unbound Writers Collective. So the Unbound Writers Collective is our membership, our community space in the unbound writing world, where you get access to on-demand trainings to help you, first of all, anchor into like the unbound writing foundations, like the foundational work around crafting a writing practice that works for you, that feels aligned for you. And also connecting with your unbound voice, like really writing from that place of authenticity that we were talking about, connecting with your real voice, your unbound self. So that's the foundational work that you'll get to do when you first join the Unbound Writers Collective. Then we have Birth Your Transformational Book, which is an on-demand program which takes you through every step of the book birthing journey. So from initial idea, really refining your initial idea for your book, connecting with what your book really wants to be, and going through the actual writing process, the creating process, honing your storytelling skills, really thinking about the reader journey, the journey you want to take your reader on, bringing your book together, completing your book, like how to work with beta readers, so to refine your manuscript, bring your manuscript together. And then you also have access in the Unbound Writers collectives on trainings on how to launch your book. So the book launch like a boss workshop, and also the Abundant Author Academy, which is all about kind of really creating a body of work around your book, allowing your book to be the foundation for streams of abundance and income. So you get access to all of that, as well as kind of the community space, which is really, really powerful. 2 group writing sessions every single month and 2 live Q&As every month. And we also have regular writing sprints. So that is designed to support you through the writing process. Then with the transformational author package, you also get a full publishing package with the Unbound Press. So that is designed to take you from completed manuscript through to both an ebook and a paperback version of your book out in the world. So you'll work with our amazing team of editors, designers to bring your book together, release it into the world, and get to be part of the Unbound Press family. The special thing about this particular package at the moment is there is a bonus, a really, really juicy bonus. So we have 3 spots left for our next cohort of authors at the Unbound Press. We want to fill those by the end of January. So when you step in now, 1, you get access at a really special rate. But 2, you also get this bonus, which is a complimentary place on a retreat that I'm hosting in the beginning of October. We got provisional dates from the 1st to the 5th of October, and it's called the Transformational Author. So this retreat, it's like a 4-night retreat. It's really focused on that identity piece and helping you step in to the transformational author you're here to be. So you get all of that when you sign up for the transformational author. So I've popped the details in the comments. There are only 3 spots left. We were aiming to fill those. I don't think it will be, I think they will go way before the end of January. So if you are interested, take a look at the details. Let me know if you have any questions. I would love for me and us to hold space for you as you go on this journey and birth your book this year. If you've got any questions about what I've shared, again, please do pop it in the comments. I am really, really excited to, see what unfolds, see what emerges for you over the next 12 months. All right, my loves. Have a wonderful rest of the day, rest of the evening, whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you soon.